Greetings, beautiful boxing fans. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, it is official. Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Davis in November in Atlanta, Georgia. Oh my God. You know what's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw the poster? Do you know that Ben Affleck movie, Gone Girl, that ending scene where he looks at this girl who they have been abusing each other for years, and in his mind he's thinking, he goes like, what are you thinking? How are you feeling? What have we done to each other? And that is the question that we all need to ask the sport of boxing. I mean, we shouldn't blame Jake Paul. We shouldn't blame Gervonta Davis. All we have to blame and all we gotta blame is the sport of boxing, whether you like this fight or not. But what have we done to each other boxing? I mean, listen, like I said, the only entity that you can blame is boxing. I'll tell you why. All the promoters and all the big time fighters, they have been greedy and they have refused to work with each other for years. I mean, look at it, ladies and gentlemen. If you think about it, ESPN, probably the biggest channel. I mean, I don't live in America, but I'm assuming that ESPN is the biggest and most powerful platform in the States. They had a multi-year deal with Top Rank, and Top Rank blew it away. Why did they blow it away? Because of greed and because they refused to make the big fights with fellow promoters. I mean, look at just recently, not too long ago, when Xander Zayas was the number one contender for Sebastian Fundora, and they were talking about staging a massive showdown between both of them for actually two belts at 154, but because of the network issues, everything fell apart. Golden Boy Promotion, I mean, look at them now. They're giving us, the only big fight that they're giving us in the next few months is Virgil Ortiz versus Erickson Lubin, probably on pay-per-view. And even look at Premier Boxing Champions, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, maybe it's the nostalgic part in me because my first boxing fights, the first few shows that I watched ever when it comes to boxing were all Showtime cards. So PBC always, they have a soft spot in my heart. But if you think about it, I mean, PBC, they have been robbing the fans for years. Look at them now, ladies and gentlemen. When is their next event? We don't know. It's rumored that their next event is going to be Keith Thurman versus Fundora on pay-per-view, with the co-main event O'Shaquie Foster versus Stephen Fulton. This is the pay-per-view that we're looking at right now, ladies and gentlemen. Manny Pacquiao, 47 years old. Much respect to the GOAT, one of the GOATs, who just beat Mario Barrios. But I mean, just think about it, ladies and gentlemen. When's their next show, PBC? When's their next show? After the alleged Thurman versus Fundora? We don't know. We don't know. I mean, like boxing in America, they have shot themselves in the foot. The only successful promoters in the world right now are British promoters, Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn. And why? The only reason they are successful is because they are working with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. And if you think about it, ladies and gentlemen, without Turkey's backing, what would have Eddie Hearn done? I mean, with his backing, look who he's given us. Osama Lima, you know, Uwisma Lima versus Jaron Ennis. Joe Cordina versus God knows who. Anthony Joshua not fighting for over a year now. I mean, Dave Allen versus Arslanbek Makhmudov. I mean, and those are the biggest shows. And even like for Frank Warren, Joshua Buatsi versus Zach Parker got announced yesterday. All these fights that I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen, nobody will know these fighters except us, you and me, us hardcore fans. So, in all actuality, when we talk about And even like, for example, PBC, who do they have? All they have is Gervonta Davis and David Benavidez. David Benavidez now he's with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. He's going to be fighting here in the Middle East. And Gervonta Davis, look at his last fight. I mean, listen, nobody asked for the Lamont Roach fight. We love Gervonta Davis, but nobody asked for the Roach fight. And that referee, what he did that night was criminal. That was a crime, robbing someone on live television, not scoring a knockdown. So, I mean, boxing, I mean, the sport. We love boxing so much. We've been asking for so many fights in boxing, but boxing didn't give us any of those fights. Boxing give us what it wants, and they create the rules as they go. And that is why I referred to the Ben Affleck scene where he goes like, what have we done to each other? I mean, the sport of boxing took its fans for suckers. Oh, they're going to buy everything. Oh, they're going to accept everything. Oh, they love Gervonta Davis no matter what. Well, look at them now. PBC, they are on the BBC, they are on the verge. BBC, they are on the verge of closing, ladies and gentlemen. PBC are on the verge of literally closing. I mean, we don't even know officially, there's no next date for them. Golden Boy, the only big thing that's coming up for them is Virgil versus Lubin. And it's not even now, it's probably at the end of November. And even for Eddie Hearn, I mean, what shows does Eddie Hearn have? Mainstream shows. Frank Warren, I mean, if you actually look at it, from now until the end of the year, what big fights do we have? Let's think about it. What big cards do we have? What big cards? Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen. We have Crawford Canelo, hosted by none other than Turki Al-Sheikh, not Eddie, not PBC, not Golden Boy, not Frank, none of them. The other big card will be a day later, or I think a day prior in Japan, Naoya Inoue versus Ahmad Aliyev, but we don't know that any fighter on the undercard, so we can't really consider that as a big card. But other than that, what do we have? November, the Night of Champions, David Benavidez, Anthony Yarde, Devin, Norman. That card is unbelievable, but it's also made by Turki Al-Sheikh. And those are the only two actually big cards that are left in the year without this one, this blockbuster, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis on Netflix. So in all actuality, ladies and gentlemen, we can't blame Jake Paul. We can't blame Gervonta Davis. We can't blame you, whether you like it or not, whether you like this fight or whether you hate it. You can't be blamed. All you can blame, and the only entity that we can actually point the finger at, is the sport of boxing. I mean, the sport of boxing, they've been abusing their fans, these boxing promoters, for the longest. I mean, when you think about PBC, when was their last pay-per-view card before Manny Pacquiao and Barrios? And even that, they even robbed us. They even robbed us on the main event. Pacquiao won the fight, they scored the fight a draw. So you see what I mean? They have no respect for you and me. You know? So, and even before that, what? David Benavidez card. He fought David Morrell, a 30-year-old, a 28-year-old prospect, $400 nearly. What are we talking about here, ladies and gentlemen? What are we talking about? So, in my opinion, we cannot blame and we cannot begrudge Jake Paul or Gervonta Davis for what they're doing. Actually, this fight is a middle finger to all the big boxing promoters, and it's a middle finger to the sport of boxing, but in a good way. It's in a good way, because this fight proves to the entity of boxing, meaning all the big promoters, hey, listen guys, you don't want to give us what we want, you don't want to give us respect, we're just going to take our big names, our big fans, our big audiences, and go to Netflix, to a streaming platform who will not charge us anything except the monthly fee. If you actually think about it, Jake Paul versus Tank, which will have an unbelievable undercard, by the way, I'm sure of it. I mean, that card will be cheaper than the card of David Benavidez versus David Morrell. It will be cheaper than the card of this upcoming card of Keith Thurman versus Sebastian Fundora. You see what I mean? You see what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen? So hey, listen, as far as I'm concerned, shout out to Jake Paul, shout out to Gervonta Davis, shout out to Netflix, Nikisa Badarian, MVP, listen up. I'm going to make another video talking about this fight, actually breaking it down. This is not going to be an easy fight, ladies and gentlemen. Exhibition or not, 8-ounce gloves, 10-ounce gloves, no matter what, 6 rounds, 10 rounds. All I got to say is this. All I got to say is this, ladies and gentlemen. This is a dangerous fight for Gervonta Davis. This is everything but an easy fight for Gervonta Davis. Yes, it's a big fight. Yes, it's a spectacle. But one thing that this won't be, I promise you, this won't be an easy fight. And who am I favoring in this fight? Tune into my next video and you'll find out.